name Robert M. Mitchell, Jr., 93 years old, live in Trussville, Alabama. I was born in Sheffield, Alabama, on November the 24th, 1921. Well, I'd gone to, wanted in the Air Corps, and me and one of my buddies there, we had gone to get inducted in. We got back, found out we'd been drafted, and we contacted the draft board, and they said they had a quarter they had to send, so anyhow, I took my papers and everything. I went where I wanted to go through the draft. So I was with the 384th Bomb Group, 544th Squadron, and my position on B-17 was flying the ball turret. One reason I was in the ball turret, they had a critical shortage of them when I got to the 384th Bomb Group, and I don't know where it was patriotism or stupidity, but I volunteered to fly that thing, and I wound up flying all my missions there instead of flying the top turret where I had been trained to. I was flying the ball turret. The ball turret is underneath the airplane, and it protects the airplane from underneath in all positions, anything coming up underneath it. And sometimes that might be as many as 4, 5 ball turrets on one ME-109. That didn't make any difference. We didn't care who got the credit for it, just so we shot him down. Well, I was in 384th Bomb Group, and it was stationed at Grafton Underwood, England. And that was a little town about 90 miles north of London. I flew in a B-17 Flying Fortress, 38 combat mission. One in particular, August the 4th, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd lost a propeller that was going across the channel, and we could not drop our bombs there because of the shipping underneath everything in the channel. So we headed back to England, had a load of bombs on, and we had a engine to go out on us. Lost the oil pressure in that, and we lost the propeller. The propeller came over, and instead of cutting the nose off like they usually do, well, it flipped under and punctured the gas tank in the wing there, and the exhaust had set the thing on fire, so we landed it on an old strip there that had been used as a decoy for get the Luftwaffe to come over and strafe it at night, and they would fly into their doom at the end of what they thought was a runway. But anyhow, we made it back on that thing, and everybody got out. And of course, it was on fire. Bombs exploded there, and the only injury we had was the top turret gunner he hit the propeller when he came out and cut down into the muscle of it. I think it was his right arm. He was the only injury that we had there. But we all got out of that. The airplane exploded and wasn't anything left of it. We had this, it was a funny thing. We landed there and this Englishman came down in a Jeep and I say, you can't land here. This is not an aerodrome. This is not an aerodrome. We told him, said, this thing's full of bombs there. So he jumped in the ditch with us, and the Jeep he was driving, next thing you knew, that thing was blown all to pieces there. So wasn't any part left of the airplane or anything. All of them there were pretty tough there. Yeah. We saw a lot of B-17 shot down. There was ME-109s and FW-190s. And yeah, the pilot was Frank Aldred. Co-pilot was Bill Reed. Navigator was Tim O'Sullivan. Bombardier was Don Ward. Top turret gunner was Ray Noble. Radio operator was Eldon Drury. Tail gunner was Virgil Hunt. And the waist gunner was Carl Redkay. And nose gunner, Toggalier, was Nicholas Leshak, and I, Robert Mitchell, flew the ball turret. Everybody's real proud of the leather jackets. Every mission we flew, we'd paint a bomb on the back of our jacket there, and we'd put the name of our crew on the back of our jacket there. And the name of our crew was Little Joe. And where we got the name there, everybody and everything somehow or another had a 4 connected with it. We had 384th Bomb Group, 544th Squadron, and every man had one or more 4s in his serial number or something. And in the dice game, Little Joe was 4 when you're rolling the dice, and so we just named our crew Little Joe there, and we painted a pair of dice on the nose of the plane, and we were given a brand new B-17, and we got it all painted and everything, and the nose painted, and another crew was flying it. Next day we went out in mid-air collision, and we lost our airplane to another crew there. So we didn't get to sport our Little Joe too much. Got a bachelor's degree at what is now the University of North Alabama at Florence, and then I got my master's at Vanderbilt, and I was in Nashville, Tennessee. I was on that World War II GI Bill, and we could take anything we wanted to. And I took all my electives and everything with mathematics and science, and I took a good bit. I just took things I wanted. I took human development, one of the things there, psychology, and we could take whatever we wanted to. And I took advantage of it, and I just took what I wanted. I was just glad to get back. And my wife had been real patient there, and I could say we had pretty much a choice what World War II there. And first thing I did, I'd gone through the National Training School for Boy Scout executives. I'd worked with Boy Scouts and been an Eagle Scout myself, and worked with Boy Scouts there for a good while. Then I took a correspondence course, civil engineering, and I worked as an engineer from then on. I retired from the engineering department of the Etna Casualty Company. My wife's name was Joyce Willette, Willette, Lowe, Lowe. That was her maiden name. We've been married now 73 years. 2 sons and a daughter living, and we have lost our first little daughter. She didn't live but a day, but we have had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Well, you just had to be alert at all times there, and I mean, your life depended on it. Not only my life, but 9 more. Crews was more or less like brothers there. We looked after each other, and so forth, and they were close-knit, and we just, I don't know, more of a family type, I guess, feeling there among your crew members. Well, we had dropped bombs on oil refineries, and we dropped bombs on marshalling yards for railroads. We had strafed trains and dropped bombs on freight trains, and we dropped bombs on industrial plants, and we had all kinds of targets there we dropped bombs on. The ball turret was considered the most dangerous there because there was not room down there for you to have your parachute on. We had a harness on, and our procedure was the radio operator of the Waste Gunner 1 would hand us a chest. We had a harness that we wore that we could snap a parachute on. And the procedure was that they would hand you the parachute out through a camera well underneath the airplane between the bomb bays and the ball turret. And you'd kick yourself out and then snap your parachute on after you're out of the plane. And I know when we were going through the procedure there, somebody had asked the TAC officer, said, we're not going to practice this all. And he said, no, it's supposed to be perfect the first time anyhow, so why practice? Well, we had a harness there, and the parachute was a chest chute. You'd snap on over your chest, and then bail out and use bail out and use a parachute after. You wanted to be careful there, and you didn't open it too soon there because you had lack of oxygen and you could freeze to death. Some of the free air temperature where we were 50 and 60 degrees below zero. And I had a friend there that, he wasn't a real close friend. He was, everybody's as close friend as you get, let's call something. But anyhow, he had pulled his glove off. We had some solid silk gloves that we would put on, and we had electric gloves that we'd put on over that and plug it into an electric jacket we had. And this fella had to work on his guns or something. I forget what it was, but anyhow, his fingers froze there all of a sudden, and he broke the 3 of them off right across there, and then the tip of the other one. Just on one hand, he just broke his fingers off. They froze and broke like icicles. Typical mission there, we would sometimes 6 to 8 hours. We'd wake up sometime 3 o'clock in the morning, go to briefing and everything, and it all depends. And then sometimes we flew 2 missions a day. We'd go and drop bombs on a target in France and then come back and bomb up and go again that afternoon. Not too many of those, but we did do 2 in a day's time several times. We had there that once you left that airplane, your duty, if you want to call it that, was to evade and get back. And they told us that you are your own, on your own. If some 2-star general gives you an order, you can tell him to kiss your butt there. You on your own. Said I wouldn't advise it, but technically you could do it. That's what the tech officer said. He got a little chuckle out of it. And we had real good maintenance there. Our ground crews there, they put their heart in their work there to make sure we had a safe airplane that we could. I got over there and finished my missions, and I just got it all done in what we call a Hershey bar, for every 3. And I was just over there 3 months. Most of us back then, we just felt like this was our country there, and we felt honored to have fought for it. I did. Then I don't know, one of my aunts had done some research on our family history there, and our ancestry there's been somebody in every major war, from a Revolutionary War through, somebody in our family there. Then that's on my daddy's side, and on my mother's side, well, the same thing. And she was a Stewart, and somehow or another, we were kin to Jeb Stewart, I don't know, but before I went into the service, my daddy, being a World War I veteran, said he needed to have a little father-son talk, and he said that I was going into the service, and he said he wanted me to wear that uniform with pride, said it had been worn that way ever since the Revolutionary War, and we had ancestors that fought for the Yankees as well as the Southerners, and so but he said, we've always worn that uniform with pride, Dad, and I want you to do the same thing. And said, and it's hard to say, but he said, I want you to come home one of 2 ways. Either with the honorable discharge in your pocket, or with a flag draped over your casket. So it's hard to say that, but that's the way we feel about it. And I agree the same thing. Both my sons have served in the military. The son-in-law, which is just like a son. And we have the utmost respect for the United States military. Army, Navy, Marines, they served in all of it. Air Force.